The billionaires of tomorrow. There is one big danger when you decide what industries to focus on during your career.
People often end up deciding collectively to all try to catch the last wave. And so they've done these studies on business schools where people systematically tend to go into the fields that are just about the wrong ones.
What billionaire VC investor Peter Thiel says here is it is damn hard to be an early believer in new industries.
A revolutionary mobile phone, and we are calling it iPhone.
Now we're selling millions and millions and millions of phones a year. Apple is selling 0 phones a year.
The industries we are going to present will produce a wave of billionaires in the future, but they are less predictable and less prestigious than traditional industries that have been around for some time. That is precisely why year after year, millions of graduates choose to start a career on Wall Street, even though they have probably already missed the gravy train. But you need to be extremely bold and early on the adoption curve to enter careers in industries that will offer billionaire-like upside potential. Have you invested in Bitcoin when it was below $10 US? What about Ethereum? Did you ever Hex edit games to give you credits? No? That means you're probably not one of these extreme early innovators. You're also probably just not nerdy enough. And this video suddenly got much more important for you to watch.
Nowadays, everybody wants to be that nerd.
I could imagine few topics that are more megalomaniacal than dissecting which industries will produce the next billionaires. But that's what this channel is about after all.
Because I want to win. I so deeply want to win.
Firstly, we want to discuss a simple business framework, a little trick on how to think about billion-dollar opportunities that I use personally as an angel investor. And secondly, we want to discuss 4 industries that will create a wave of billionaires in the coming decades. And for each, how you can participate in that industry with 0 experience. First, an easy framework to assess whether an industry has billion-dollar potential. This is coming straight out of an MBA class, so save yourself the MBA fees. Let's keep it as simple as possible. 2 variables, size and competition. In other words, firstly, is the market big enough so that it can produce enough big companies and billionaires?
Where is the next $1 trillion going to come from?
Market size is about the easiest thing to Google, although estimates can sometimes be a bit shaky. Nevertheless, you should aim for markets that are in the trillions, not billions, with high CAGRs. Crypto, 2 trillion. Check. Management consulting, 250 billion. Fail. Investment banking, 360 billion. Fail. If you capture 0.1% of a $1 trillion market, that gives you 1 billion. Enough for a start. Now, once you determine the market size, this is completely worthless without the competition factor. What does this mean? You should be looking to enter industries with as low competition as possible. You can also ask yourself, where in the industry life cycle is this industry? Because generally, the earlier you are, the less competition you face from big players, and the more early challenges there are for you to solve. Electrical car industry? Somewhere here. Oil and gas industry? Rather here. Next, and without further ado, let me give you the 4 industries and tell you for each one how to get started. Actually, one further ado, I was told that I can keep your attention if I put the most important message at the end of the video. So that's what I'm going to do. If you have no time, jump to the last 30 seconds of the video.
We've seen in private credit, private equity, this has to be a good time to be in this business.
This is a golden age of this business, I would say. And
you're seeing growth in different asset classes, infrastructure now, certainly private credit, which is growing at twice the rate of private equity.
The best paid investors of the next couple decades are likely going to be in the drug-like business of private credit. It ticks all the right boxes. Massive market.
The size of the private credit market is estimated at approximately $2 trillion, and it is growing swiftly.
Check. Even many finance professionals disregard private credit as it's less popular than private equity or venture capital, for example. So, low competition? Check. Why is it like a drug and a great industry for that reason? Private credit is essentially lending money to people and organizations. As an example, when you lend $100 to someone, you want to make sure they are able to pay it back at some point. That's why you do some background checks, see if the person in question has their life together or not. In the past, lending has been mostly done by traditional banks, and as you can imagine, they employ pretty old school technology to determine whether you're credit worthy. Nowadays, a lot of smaller companies you have never heard of are starting to disintermediate the big banks and marketplaces. They hire PhD computer science, physics, math people to build a better mousetrap and pick off the higher yielding, lower default risk loans based on a substantially more sophisticated algo. Their AI is simply better in predicting who's creditworthy and who's not than the big marketplace lenders, and they are faster too. And giving people instant gratification with delayed consequences is a well-proven way to get them addicted on your private credit drug.
It's that demand for immediate gratification it's the way to ruin.
But the opportunity is even bigger. We are not just talking about lending to private individuals, but also lending to businesses. They want to borrow money too. That's why companies such as Blue Owl that are being built in secret are thriving.
We're very fortunate in the way we're positioned as a matter of business. We're going to continue, knock on wood, to continue to do great and thrive in any environment.
How can you get a piece of the action? First, get familiar with the space because it can be a bit confusing. Secondly, if you have been eyeing a career in venture capital or private equity, consider private credit too. For example, working for one of the more established firms like Owl Rock. A big bonus, by the way, is that it's easier to network with employers because private credit professionals get way less spam from aspiring graduates than, for example, PE professionals. Thirdly, or join a private credit startup and negotiate some decent equity ownership. Some of these firms will be worth billions, giving you a couple of $100 million to your name if you play your cards right. Ever heard of climate change? Or should I ask, do you happen to have been living under a rock for the past decade?
Larry Fink and his annual letter, which is drawing a lot of attention this morning, in which he says that at the core of BlackRock's investing priorities in the future will be an evaluation of sustainability, carbon footprint, and a company's policies and practices with respect to climate change.
Apple, Amazon, as an example, put out 2030, 2040 carbon neutrality goals. It could change meaningfully. You're going to have some massive economic incentives to get carbon neutral as quickly as possible. Billionaire investor and SPAC king. Wait, do we need to add SPACs to the list? Chamath Palihapitiya, BlackRock tycoon Larry Fink, as well as many other investors are convinced that green tech solutions are the next big opportunity. And rightfully so. We are looking at a massive market size.
Global market volume exceeds 4 trillion euros for the first time in 2020.
Now you might say, I'm not interested in that. I just want a yacht, I want to have a good life, I want to live surrounded by models. Yeah, that's nice. But first, solve climate change, please.
Delivering clean energy, allowing the world to be sustainable is an incredibly important thing that will be rewarded by markets and individuals.
And there are actually some very concrete ways you can get started. Firstly, look at what you are doing right now. What are sustainability angles you could add to your current or future occupation? Spot something that could be improved? Secondly, it can be shockingly easy to raise money for green tech business ideas. I have seen it done firsthand. So create a pitch deck, make sure you have a mildly proper idea and a team that looks like they can build this thing, and raise a couple of million pre-seed. Don't worry too much about questions you might get from investors and the press.
Every time you create something new, there should be questions. And to me, that's a sign that you've actually done something that is transformative.
By the way, to everyone watching this, have you subscribed, liked and commented on this video already? Look at this, that's a disgrace! Usually if there's a problem, it helps to throw money at it. So I'll be giving away $100 and access to my WhatsApp number and WhatsApp mentoring. The only thing you need to do is leave a thoughtful comment under a new video as soon as I publish. So within 3 hours of publishing the video. So it pays to turn on the notification bell and just be fast. No, but seriously, here's the number one thing you need to remember. The crypto market currently stands at a total market size of 2.2 trillion US dollar. The value of all equities is around 100 trillion, give or take. That means the market could easily 10x from here, creating massive opportunities for people involved in it. Now I hear the haters saying that right now the market is too hot, too volatile, too risky, or even that we are too late. The hype around crypto is too high. That's why it's important to be in it deeply and to be in it for the long run.
We're making long-term bets on kind of infrastructure plays, architecture plays, and things, like I said, like platform.
How to get involved? Crypto and Web3 are incredibly easy to get into. So as a student or someone working full-time, there's incredible opportunities to get involved and get paid. Here's how. Level 1 is starting to invest in different currencies and tokens that provide genuine value in your eyes, staking them and earning passive income to get familiar with the space. Level 2 is joining some DAOs and Discord communities and simply reading the members' posts. Level 3 is actively engaging and supporting in these DAOs and becoming a paid core member of 2 to 3 of your favorite crypto and Web3 communities. And the end level is of course creating your own crypto project and doing something cool like, buy the US Constitution.
They are inspired by the movie National Treasure. They've raised almost $50 million and they're out to buy the United States Constitution.
Ever dreamt about being an emperor? Conquering new grounds and colonizing territories? Well, don't look any further. The space industry is a $500 billion market waiting to be conquered. Not yet a $1 trillion industry, but growing rapidly. And while there's still a long way to go until we are able to colonize other planets, and metal exploration in space is a supply chain nightmare to say the least, the hardest challenges usually have the highest payoffs. The problem is that it's difficult to play on the sidelines of the space industry. You cannot just enter the industry without significant efforts. Your best bet is to study topics such as astronomy, physics, math, or all kinds of engineering, mechanical, electrical, and get involved afterwards. Finally, here's the most important message for you. Although these 4 industries will undoubtedly create a wave of billionaires in the coming years, you should not go into these industries just for the money, with zero passion for the topic itself. Oh wait, the last way to become a billionaire is actually OnlyFans.